other times you have tarot decks and oracle cards, and then you pick a card, and then you have to go and consult the book. You know, and I really did want people to have the blessings of the card, because the card itself, as we'll talk about soon, contains the healing energy. So there's no point in putting it away. You know, I want you guys to keep them out for the day. So I'm really happy that you got that in one. It's a nice introduction. So yeah, my name is Sarah Tomlinson, and I am here. Today we were thinking of talking a little bit more about the planetary energies. Because in the deck, we do have deity cards, and we do have planet cards, and sometimes people like to put out the card of the day. So I thought I'd introduce the idea of the card of the day. For example, sun would be on a Sunday, and it would attune you to the energy of Sunday just by having it out. And I studied with Harish Johari in India mostly, and somewhat in New York State. He used to come every year, and so I would meet him in New York, and then I would go to India and spend time with him. Some of you might know of Harish Johari from his books on the chakras and Tools for Tantra and Ayurveda. Many books he's written. But he didn't at that time have a book on the planets. So he left his body a few years after I started studying with him, and I felt this responsibility after he taught me all the planetary yantras. I said, I better, you know, teach people how to make them and get it out there. And so I actually made this book at that time. So this is a book on how to make the planetary yantras, 9 designs for inner peace. And so all of my work to date has really been a tribute to his teaching. Because, you know, if they leave their bodies before they've put it out there in a form that has some longevity, there's some responsibility to the students. And so I felt that with the planets especially, and even the entire deck is a little bit like that. So when I would come back from India, I would go and teach workshops, and people always ask me, how did you come about making the Yantra deck? And what happened is I had these paintings, and I was obsessed with making these yantra paintings and just really figuring out for myself what the healing power of yantras was. I was really captivated. I could feel they were healing the subtle body, so working with the chakras and the mind and the emotions. And then as I started teaching other people how to make them, actually do the paintings, so doing the paintings, drawing and then painting, and then meditating on the process and the painting at the end would always have a very interesting effect on people. And it was the beginning of the workshop that everybody liked the best. And that was when I would put these templates out. So this is sort of like the original Yantra deck. And what this was so long ago. I hate to tell you how long ago it was, but really it was a long time ago. And like the early 2000s, it wasn't, you know, prehistoric, but it feels like that now, because I would take my paintings into this little photocopy shop in New York City. And there was a really nice man in there who had the patience to put my paintings. I can't believe I did it now, because later on I would go to this professional scanner or professional photographer, you know, and get my paintings on high resolution. But at the time, I just had this nice, you know, friendship with the guy at the local, basically candy store, you know. And so he put my paintings on his little photocopy machine, and then I said, "Can you shrink it?" So then he put the thing on, and so he shrunk my paintings down, and then I'd go home and I'd cut them out, and then I'd stick them on another piece of paper, cut it out. Then maybe at that point I went to actually a printer's and I had them laminated, and then I'd cut those out, actually with a knife, scoring. So it was so much work, as you can imagine, but it was for this project, right? So I could teach yantra painting workshops without taking all my paintings into the workshop. So this is the thing, without books, without decks, how am I going to continue this tradition, right? So, so this is literally one of these multi-layered photocopies of my paintings, right? And So what I would do at the beginning, let's see if I can just kind of describe it, because it'll give you a clue as to the way the yantras work a little bit. I would put these down, maybe on a rug or something. And at the beginning of the workshop, I'd have everyone sit around in a circle. And these are the 24, actually, that are in the deck. And just see which one people were drawn to. And it was always very, very compelling. You know, people were either like that one, or they'd get 2, or they'd get 3. But there was never like, oh, I like all of them, or I don't like any of them. It was always very, very specific, the ones they were drawn to. And then I'd ask them a little bit about what was going on with them, why they were drawn to it. And already, obviously, I know some background about the planets and the deities, and I could steer them towards which one would be probably most helpful to them at that time. But to hear the way I was counseling people as they were, it was like a psychological, unveiling. As they would tell me which yantra they were drawn to, I would see that they were choosing the energy that was already something that was going on in their lives that needed to kind of come out more. So for example, if they were drawn to, say, the Mars yantra, which is like intensity and focus, and they may start talking about how they're really, trying to get focused or something like that. And I say, well, if you work with this yantra, it'll really bring that quality out, and you must need it because you're drawn to the yantra. So whichever one you're drawn to, you must need it because that's why you're drawn to it. So it's really trusting yourself and not me telling them which one they should have, right? They're always seeing which one they're drawn to. People will come up to me and thank you very much, I love my yantra, 1 or 2 days of painting. And then they always say, can I have an extra set of those templates? And I'm thinking, I'm not going to go back to the guy at the corner store and go through that process again for anybody, I'd make 2 sets, I think, at that point. And so little by little, I just slowly was thinking, you know what? This would be kind of great as a deck. And then also, how can I teach people really more about what are yantras, what is the practice of yantra, because it is a meditation practice, and what are the benefits, what does each shape mean? The language of yantra, the language of sacred geometry. So then when I first made the deck, this is actually the 2nd edition, this one. The first one was actually a little bit more busy looking, more colorful in a way. This is the 2nd edition. I felt like it was really a learning tool. So people could go home in the intimacy of their own home. They could really spend time with each yantra. Whether it's the planetary yantra for each day, or whether they just wanted to keep exploring the yantras. I think by having them out, you start to understand the effect they're having on you. Oh, that's uplifting, or oh, I don't want that one out today, or oh, the circle is really making me feel, you start to feel the effect each one is having on you. And again, why there's not a book, because I want you to, for yourself, feel the effect of the colors, feel the effect of the shapes. Don't have somebody else tell you what they're doing to you, you see. And I did this with all of my students, and then over the years I would see what would happen to them after they painted that yantra. And so would they have sudden life changes, or would they suddenly have a romantic encounter, or would they, have some healing in their physical health. And I really spent almost 20 years doing this in New York City. Probably not quite that long, maybe 15. And really kind of gathering the data, because it was one thing for me to do it in my own journey, with my own romances and my own careers and health, but then to see how universal the messages were and how things would work for other people. So that's something that people often say, why did you make the deck? So then when I felt like it had this quality of an oracle. The first one, I don't even know if it was called an oracle. And because people would shuffle them, divide them, and pick a card. And so often it was just the one they needed, and I was like, God, it's kind of, it's taken on a life of its own. I was just making it as this teaching tool. But now people are really getting these messages and these, like this guidance. So it was almost a bit spooky because it really became this other thing. So then by the second printing, we really have been focusing on it being an oracle. And what is the power of that language of sacred geometry and yantra that can support you where you are right now? So it's a very powerful collection of teachings, from Harish Johari that I have really condensed into this deck. And so that's the essence of it. And I wanted to, today, as you can see, actually there's not such a huge room. I wasn't sure what space it was going to be. You actually can see these. But I thought for fun, I would show you a bigger one. So the bigger one is going to be like this. Right? So this way, we can meditate on each one a little bit, and I want you to see so we're going to have a little, which planetary energy are you most drawn to today, okay? Some of you, even if you know the yantras, like I even do this for myself, and I intellectually know each one is, Mars, Saturn, right, Jupiter, but still when I do this practice, one will really be calling me more than another. Okay, so is everybody up for this, having a look at the 9 planetary yantras? Yeah. Otherwise, what's the option? Okay, you're going to leave now. You've ruined the party. So let's see. And so these yantras, they're ancient designs, but what was interesting is Harish Johari did bring in the colors based on the gemstones that relate to the energy of the planet. And he said that the color of the day and the planet of the day, because people are always asking me why, I don't want to give it away now. Let's just talk sun. Why is the sun on Sunday? No, we were like, well, because it's called Sunday. No, but before it was even called anything, why is it? And he said that 2 hours before dawn, he would always get up really early. He would encourage us to get up before dawn. The energy of that planet is the strongest on that day. So that actually sets the tone for the day. So those of us who are up before dawn, which is easier in the winter, for the summer, we can actually tune into that. And so that's why if you start to feel the days of the week, you start to feel in harmony with the energy of the day, because that is the pervasive energy that's moving through that day. At least that's so. I would say, based on the energy of the rishis and maybe also some understanding of Vedic astrology. Just let's take a moment then. So close your eyes and really empty out, because we're going to receive these planetary energies. Maybe soften your belly, have both feet on the floor. Just take a breath, even just taking a breath to acknowledge that you're in Watkins' books, Cecil Court, on a Thursday evening. So take another breath in and out. Alright, so now here we are. So the yantras do go with mantras, but for right now we're focusing purely on the visual. So let's just take another breath. I'm going to move them around so we can all see. And you're just feeling in your body the effect it's having. It could be a little bit of a judgment, do I like it or not? But basically, just what's the feeling? Do I feel it in my heart, in my pelvis? Do I really not feel it anywhere? Do I like the color? So you can gaze at the image now. Am I drawn to this? Sometimes we're really affected by ones with colors we don't usually like. So it's not always, oh yeah, that's my favorite color. Sometimes it's just a feeling, oh, I need a little more of that in my life right now. So this is number 1, in no order, okay? All right, this is number 2. So take another breath into your belly so you kind of drop out of the one we just had. Some of them have very unique shapes. Some of them have repeating shapes. You might notice that.
lifted up recently. So thank you.
It's like a stand up again.
No.
Okay, so you can feel, right? It's a little different feeling to the other one. And so some people would ask Harish, well, can I change them? You know, can I make this one a little more orange, a little more pink? And he would say, he said two things. One, sometimes he'd say you can do whatever you want. And then he said whenever people did that, they would always end up going back to like his vision, you know? Because these are very specific. It's not like, you know, a random choice of colors. Okay, so we're looking and seeing what we're feeling for each one. And then other times he would say, you know, maybe your red is a little different to my red, but still let's do a red. So that was the basic answer. Just to let you know how specific they are. So we're taking another breath into our bellies and just feeling where in your body, I know I keep saying belly, but that's just to kind of draw us out of our minds a little bit. I must have been feeling this one today by my choice of outfit. Okay. Hopefully you're going to remember which one. I'm hoping you're going to, at the end, have one you really were drawn to. Just notice how it feels in your body. Like, is that a feeling you want more of? It may not be a color you even like, but is that the feeling you want more of? So it's a slightly different color palette here, but similar shapes. These ones just do a balance when the shapes are like this. So we've got the dark blue in our bodies, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed there's some green in the store, all the signs. Okay? We can comment on that when we get back to the green. Maybe you remind me. So see how your body responds to that green. And the configuration. It's not just the color. Take another breath. Breath is always a good way to get into your body. Yeah, this is quite different, right? Once you really start looking, once you start making them, you really can't believe the nuances between them too. We must be getting there. See how this feels in your body. Do I want more of that? Would I be so happy to be? It's like a medicine, you know? Do I want to keep taking that remedy? Or have I had enough? I just discovered Helios. It's just around the corner. I never knew that. No. I've ordered it, and it always says Tunbridge Wells. I never knew it was. The lady's like, no, we order from here too. Oh gosh, and then we're back to the beginning. Do you recognize that now? Yeah. I mean, before, I don't even want to know which one you like, but how did you get on in terms of feeling the differences?
Yeah.
Yeah. And some probably more than others, right? And some were really like, oh. And then some people are really not visual people, and they'll look at all nine and be like, couldn't really identify any of them. So that's interesting, isn't it? There's different remedies for different kinds of people. So the kinds of people who will be drawn to this will be people interested in color and sound, you know, and the chakras. Or maybe artists or people who really are steeped in the visual, because they'll just be sort of open to feeling the medicine. So, all right, let's see. So we're going to let's just start with the green one, because I had the thought about the green one. Did anybody, there's 2 green ones. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
2 green ones.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel quite different from each one?
Yeah.
Actually, this is a more introverted one. Today I was feeling, I was just telling Colette, it's almost the new moon. That's a time for more introspection. And I was feeling that, quite a more peaceful energy today. So that if you were drawn to this one, that might be a sign you might also be craving this more peaceful inward energy. And also just doing it in your own way. This is to do with really honoring your own way of going into silence. Not a discipline that other people are doing even. Sort of like the weird hermit, the weird things you do when no one's watching, just to get quiet. Because actually, you could get quiet in any way, right? And usually it is when there's no one around to make you self-conscious. So that's what I was feeling, apparently. Oftentimes people are wearing the color they're drawn to. Of course, everyone in London is wearing a lot of black, and some people do come to workshops and pick this one. It's a whole different thing. So the other green one is actually quite different.
Yeah.
And this is, I didn't tell you what it's called. This is called K2. I'm just going to give you the names, because there's a lot to it. You can always get the planet book if you want to read more about it. So this is Mercury. Now Mercury, most people think of as the winged messenger and the communicator, but actually it's also the educator, the teacher. So things like buying lots of books would be a mercurial thing to do. Studying. So it's actually interesting that all your signs are in green. Now, even the floor is green. Hello.
Yeah.
Buy lots of books and study. You're in the right place. Interesting. So, okay, who was drawn to who was anyone drawn to this one over any other ones? Don't be shy. No, everyone's out. See, everyone came out. This person's a hermit, right? They didn't come. How about this person? Did they come out to the bookstore and say, I need more green? You like that one? Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So here you are. Also nature. Things that are soothing.
Yeah.
Having some plants around, having a view of nature. I really used to have in the dentist's office, they sometimes put a poster on the ceiling that was like nature. Nature. Yeah. Or even like play, nature. People who have dogs and they go out and play with them,
Excuse me, what's the light one? Did you say that's K2?
The lighter one was K2, and then this one was Mercury.
That's me.
Yeah. And when you get the deck, it says at the top and the bottom, you know what they are. Alright, so this one is Rahu, which is actually the partner of K2, symbolically. And this one is also being unique, but getting out there being unique. Not in your cave, but out there. So actually being a little out there in public, or being yourself, or feeling the need, just be yourself, don't be self-conscious. And sometimes it can be a real relief when you've been conforming, or you've been hiding your gifts a little bit because you think, oh, they're too weird. Usually what makes us weird is actually what makes us special. Yeah. So these colors again are quite interesting mix. Right? Is anyone drawn to this one?
I was repulsed.
Yeah.
What's that?
I felt really dull by it.
Oh, duh! I didn't have a good effect at all. No.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Yeah, this has a yes or no kind of one. Yeah. These are called the shadow planets too. So there is almost this shadowy feeling. So sometimes you want to be behind the scenes and a little bit secret, but otherwise, no. All right. Again, you're out today. You're not feeling these weird ones. Okay, I'm gonna mix it up a bit. How about that was Rahu? This one. So this one is Venus. So Venus is usually to do with the heart and the senses, and beauty and art, and actually being drawn to the Yantras is pretty Venusian, because remember we were saying the art. So, and the pastel color lighter again, right? There are two like this. Is anyone most drawn to this or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Someone was. You were most drawn to that one.
Like the 8. It's got 8 limbs.
The what?
It's got eight kind of spokes, isn't it?
Petals? Or the squares?
No, in the center it's got the 8 on the 8s. There are eight spokes, aren't there? In the like that.
These?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The two squares
the
really
eight
that make
limbs
that.
for
So,
yoga and the noble path in Buddhism.
And there's 6 sets of those squares. So 6 sets of the 8s. If you're into the numbers.
Eight shapes.
I kind of like this one because, you know, it feels like it takes you back in space a bit. It's nice to meditate on. So the days of the week, so that's Venus, that's Friday. Anyone who knows their French do really well with the days of the week, right? Vendredi. This one.
I didn't like
Yeah, you did. You were like, okay. So this can be thought of in 2 ways. It can be one, I'm going to attend to my physical body and to healing and silence. And the other way is to think of it as to do with organization. So clearing the noise and the clutter in the mind and just clearing the surfaces, you know. But oftentimes if you're going through something physical, you'll want this one around, you know. Saturn. Good. Which one was it for you? More the healing or more the organization and the mind?
More the healing, yeah. Also, by looking at I felt a joy in my heart.
Yeah.
So that was a good
kind of that's a very good way to go.
Yeah.
Good barometer.
Yeah.
That's in your face, but I like it, that one.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, well, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it had some presence for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said it's in your face. It's in my face.
They're very black.
Yeah, blue and black. It's blue and black. My Saturn's a little joyful. Sometimes it can look a bit more murky and dark. So people like to propitiate planets, right? Propitiate means to honor, get the blessing from. Oftentimes people will say, oh, Saturn, don't mess with Saturn, and they get scared of it. Actually, all it means is they haven't made friends with it. When you make friends with it, it's the planet that supports aging, supports healing, supports silence, supports, right? And if you don't make friends with it, people feel, oh, it's afflicting me, it's giving me all these problems. But actually, I would say that is not true. The truth is really, how can I make friends with each one and get to know that aspect of myself? Because oftentimes we think it's all out there, but actually it's a reflection of these 9 qualities that are within us. All right, so this one, we all know this is the sun because I did talk about it already. But it's a totally different feeling to the feeling that we had when we were looking at the Saturn, right? This is much more. So Saturn was really about less. Can I clear things away and just focus, let the healing happen? This is, can I include and let the healing happen? So can I integrate? Can I include? So like tonight is a very sunny event, right? We brought the sun to the basement of Watkins Works because we've included everyone here on this one subject. We've found some universality around Yantra. So the sun, the integrator. Anyone was enjoying that tonight? Somewhat, you were, yeah. See, look at his clothing tonight. I'm telling you, people. Yeah. You like it too. Yeah, and you also have something red on orange.
Very attractive.
Yeah. It's not always true, that whole thing. All right, this one is, I think, one we started with. I just shuffled them a bit just now. I don't know where you were feeling that one. In your body, if you remember. This was the moon. So the moon and the sun is actually a nice combo. You know, usually we're one or the other in a way, right? This is the more dynamic. This is the more receptive quality. This is more heart-oriented. So was anyone soothed by this one?
Just heart and hands.
Oh, and hands. Nice. Soothing, healing hands. Monday. That's why you should never do too much on the Monday. Right? Or if you do it peacefully, quietly. The moon is a softer energy. All right, and then this is today's one. So this is Jupiter. And it's obviously yellow. Gold. Sometimes people just say gold. Wear a lot of gold when it's a Jupiter day. Also, people will really enjoy rituals on a Jupiter day. So working with the Yantra deck is a ritual. I'm sure a lot of people who come to Watkins' books like rituals, have Jupiterian. And also Jupiter is gold. I don't know if there's writing gold on that green. Kind of looks like it. Might be my eyes. Gold and Jupiter to do with higher learning. So really like the scriptures in different traditions. So we could say this bookstore might be a little Mercury-Jupiter mix. Anyone feeling this yellow is giving them some energy, drawn to it? Yeah. You can vote even if you just got here. Do you like it or not? Anyone else feeling like, I'm not feeling that yellow? Yellow's a hard color to wear, but I can do the gold chains. Of course, some people are great in yellow, but you've got your touch on, right?
Gold, I don't like yellow.
Sweater. So Jupiter's going to be very, very good luck. Like serendipitous, good things will start to happen. Interesting coincidences. Oh gosh, I have 2 moons. And did we do this one already? No. Only one of these. So this one is Mars. So it's definitely going to be a you either like it or you don't kind of one. And the energy is the triangle is pointing up, which is like, okay, you're on a direction, you're going up. Focus, otherwise you're not going to have success. If you do focus, you will have success. So sometimes when I have a lot to do, I'll put this card out. So this is the thing, you can pick and choose the cards once you get to know their qualities too. I'll put the Mars Yantra on my desk, and if I'm all distracted, I'll just look at it and I'll be like, okay, back on task. And it really helps. I really get things done very efficiently. So that Mars energy is dynamic, let's do it. If you found yourself having too many arguments or something, then maybe you shouldn't have it out, Might be too aggressive. But for me, it's actually energizing and it helps me get stuff done. And that's why Tuesday, Mars Day, is a great day to get things done. So Monday, you kind of feel into what you need to get done, and Tuesday, you can really go for it. So to really feel this energy of the days of the week is not to have me tell you about it, but it is really to pay attention, have the yantra of the day out, and then you just start to notice a rhythm, not every day is the same. So, well, we all know that. But it is nice to use the yantras to tune into it. And there's a sound that goes with each one. So the sound is soom, soom. So just try saying one. Soom, soom.
Is it soom?
Soom. S-O-O-M. Soom. Soom. Suryaya is the longer name for the sun. Soom. So the essence of the sun is in that one sound. So if you say the sound and gaze at the yantra, it's like you multiply the benefits of the energy that you're going to receive in your body. So that's why there's the sounds on them. So that's the very short introduction to the deck and also the planetary cards in the deck. Now there are other cards in the deck. I'm not going to talk about it at length because I really wanted you to see that it's an ancient form of astrology, but it's really in the deck. So then there's the shapes. I'm just showing you now the different fits to the deck. So like the triangle, what does it mean? Sometimes all you need is a shape, you know, and you're like, oh, that's all I needed today. You know, a whole yantra sometimes feels like too much, you know, to digest. And then there's cues or keys to practice on these ones. And sometimes same thing, just one message is what you need that day, you know. Oracle deck, it is a great oracle, and I'm kind of honored really that I was receiving this information from my teacher and I could represent it like this. Hopefully somewhere he's, you know, at least somewhat happy that we're doing this here tonight. And I think that at this time we're open to questions. And then after a few questions, we're going to go upstairs. If anybody wants me to sign anything, I'll be there with I have a gold pen that's really great for signing on the purple. And even on the book. So what we have is we do have a book on the planet, Yantras, if you want to learn how to make them. And then we have a coloring book. That's really nice, because you also learn more about each yantra and you can color them. So thank you for your attention and hi.
What's the relationship between yantras and mandalas?
Oh, good question. So what happens is, well, first of all, there's a few different kinds of mandalas. There are ones like the Jungian ones, which are inside a circle, and those are dream imagery. So people can just put any kind of imagery in that circle, and that'll be a mandala. And there are other mandalas, like Tibetan ones, that are really structured, and they tell a story, and they're really quite amazing, right? But they're also built and always different, right? The idea of a yantra, sometimes you find a yantra at the center of a mandala. The yantra is the essence of something that it never changes. So it's not quite so free form. A mandala is more free form, and a yantra is very specific. Sometimes I liken it to dance versus asana. So if someone says, I do shoulder stand because it helps my thyroid and it helps my this, that, and the other, it's very specific, right? The pose is pretty specific. What it helps is pretty specific. As opposed to, oh, I love to do movement and I'm moving my body all over and sometimes I'm upside down. But you couldn't really say exactly what that was doing. Right? So in the same way, a mandala typically is an expanded version of something. It could be an expanded form. Like even in this book, we have the option of coloring a yantra. See, on one side there's the yantra, and on the other side there's a yantra mandala, because the mandala is the more ornate description. So this is a goddess who has always the bird with her. So we're having this description, and there's more to color. So for a coloring book, it sort of makes it more fun to have this embellishment. So that's one answer. Really, they're very specific, the yantras.
Where are you from?
I'm from Devon.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
and somewhere in the middle of my life, I lived 30 years in America.
Okay.
And then I moved back to Devon, so now I live in Devon again. So yeah, if I don't sound Devon through and through, that 30 years gave me a little bit of an American accent. It's funny, I have friends who did similar things, and they sound so English. I don't know how I picked up that accent so quickly.
Is that because you're sensitive?
I think I adapt to where I am somehow, and so I must
Pick up the
pick it up. I am good at languages, you know what I mean? So that's another sound thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there a yantra that's not good for you, or everything is beneficial?
Yeah, everything is beneficial if you need it. It's a little bit like homeopathy, where if you don't need it, it's not going to do anything. But sometimes people will ask, is it black magic? Is it tantra? Are you going to get a spell on you? Da, da, da. For those kinds of stories, what would have happened, probably back in the day, is someone would have created the yantra while like doing some black magic and then given that thing to the person. You know, they would have loaded it up with some kind of energy. But the yantras themselves, you're either going to be drawn to it and it's going to have a good effect, or you're just not going to be drawn to it and it's going to have no effect.
So if you feel repulsion to it, does it mean that like you need to reverse back what?
I would just say it means right now it's not the yantra for you to be working with. It's not going to really have an effect. It's not going to have a negative effect, but if it's slightly unsettling, then it might mean it's something that you're going to be working with in the future, but you're not quite ready to work with it now. Just you really trust what feels comfortable now.
That's interesting.
Mm.
Because yeah, I had that effect on the one where you need to draw out your individuality.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, so you might be like, you
Not
know,
yet.
like gaining the confidence to do the right situation, or just feeling you know the subject yourself better before you step out and do the thing. Interesting.
Or I thought I was already like being out there.
Oh, out there enough. No, you wouldn't have that reaction if you were. You would just like it. Yeah, oh, there may be more coming. Hi.
Can they be, I mean, I read the Rider-Waite Tarot card. Can your cards be used to predict the future? Or it's,
Yeah, it's not so much predicting the future, but sometimes, like with this lady, she was saying there's one that makes her feel a little bit. So I can sort of feel maybe it's coming for her, you know, in the future. And the same way, if you're drawn to something, it means it's coming. I wouldn't say far future. I would say it's coming. Like there's a couple that I feel like really are romantic ones, you know, and I'll be like, I feel like something probably will be coming if you're drawn to this one. But it's not like I'm predicting 20 years from now.
oh, fine. Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's just like recognizing what's going on. Because sometimes we're in denial. We're like, yeah, right, I don't, you know, but you just pay attention and you usually can feel something's coming, you know. Hi.